3 million years ago, on the grasslands of what is now East Africa, a group of hominids walked beneath the sun we see today. They were not yet human, not as we understand the word, but something older and in between. Short, strong, covered in fur, with low foreheads and eyes that already held intelligence, they hunted small prey, gathered roots and berries, and slept in rocky hollows beneath the stars. Every day, they lived on the razor edge between life and death. When we imagine the dangers of that ancient world, we picture the obvious killers. Saber-toothed cats hidden in tall grass, giant hyenas, crocodiles in muddy rivers, and massive animals. Those dangers were real. But many of our distant relatives did not die in the jaws of predators. Many died from something far smaller, something the eye could not see, something a modern child would treat with a wet wipe without a second thought. A scratch. Imagine it. Dawn on the dry savanna, 3 million years ago. You reach into a thorny bush to gather dark red berries for your family. A thorn drags across your forearm. It barely breaks the skin. A single bead of blood appears. You wipe it away with the back of your hand and keep walking. In the modern world, you would forget it before breakfast. In the ancient world, that tiny wound could begin the end of your life. You have no soap, no clean water, no alcohol, no iodine, no antiseptic cream. You have never heard of bacteria, because your species will not even imagine such a thing for another 3 million years. You do not know that on the tip of that thorn were invisible living things, waiting for exactly this chance to enter a warm, unprotected body. They are already inside you, and they are multiplying. At first, you feel nothing. You continue through the day with your group. You drink muddy water from a shallow river. You rest in the shade of an acacia tree. The wound is still only a thin red line, barely visible beneath dust and fur. But under the skin, a war has begun. Your immune system sends cells to the wound. The bacteria answer with toxins. Chemicals flood the tissue. Blood vessels widen. The skin grows warm. By afternoon, a dull ache appears. You look down. The scratch is red, swollen, puffy around the edges. You do not understand. You have been scratched many times before. You were lucky many times before. This time, you were not. By sunset, you are sweating beyond the heat of the day. You sit close to the first fire of the night. Your body feels heavy. Your throat stays dry no matter how much muddy water you drink. A female in your group notices. She takes your arm, studies the wound, crushes leaves she learned to use from her mother, and presses them against the skin. It is the best medicine her world can offer. It is also almost useless, because the enemy is already past the skin. The infection enters the bloodstream. In the modern world, this is called sepsis. In a hospital, with antibiotics given quickly, many patients survive. Without antibiotics, most do not. 3 million years ago, antibiotics do not exist. By the middle of the night, you are shaking. Your teeth chatter even while your skin burns. Your blood pressure falls. Your heart beats faster, forcing what little pressure remains toward your organs. Your kidneys, liver, and lungs begin to fail. Your thoughts blur. You see shapes in the firelight that are not there. You try to speak, but words no longer come. Your family does not understand what is happening inside you. They only see someone they love becoming hotter, weaker, further away. An older male keeps watch against hyenas and the eyes glowing beyond the fire. The female holds your hand. A child curls against your leg like a frightened animal. They can do nothing. There is nothing to do. By dawn, the darkness in your blood has spread. Red streaks climb your arm toward your shoulder. The tissue around the original scratch is dying. You do not know it is sunrise. You do not know anything. Your breath slows, stops, starts again, slows once more, and then, quietly, in the gentle dawn of a Pliocene day, it ends. This was the brutal reality of that world. Not always the dramatic death in a predator's jaws. Not always a heroic end. Sometimes it was a scratch, an invisible enemy, and a family burying someone they loved in red earth beneath a lone acacia tree, without understanding what killed him, only knowing that something too small to fight had entered through a wound so minor it had barely seemed worth noticing. Scientists studying fossil remains of our ancient ancestors see echoes of this story again and again. bones marked by infections that healed, bones marked by infections that did not, abscesses, bacterial damage deep in bone, teeth lost to decay because even a cavity could become fatal. Life expectancy was short. Many died as children. Many died as young adults. And far more deaths than we imagine came not from great visible predators, but from the microscopic ones no one could see. Think of everything your body can rely on now that theirs could not. A pill in a cabinet, a tube of ointment, a clean bandage, clean running water, soap at a sink, a vaccine in your blood, the ability to walk into a clinic with a fever and a red line on your arm and walk back out alive. 3 million years of suffering, evolution, trial, loss, and countless small wounds that became enormous brought us to the moment when human beings finally learned how to fight back. The next time you look down at a small scratch on your arm, stop for 1 second and think of the one who walked through yellow grass 3 million years ago. He was strong. He was loved. He was intelligent enough to make tools, to mourn, to bury his own. He was killed by a thorn because he was born too early for the fight to be fair. And there is one more truth. That hominid did not live ignorant of death. He had seen it before. He had watched friends vanish beneath claws, children fail to grow, older members of the group lie down and never rise. Death was always near. What he could not know was how close the cure would one day be, if only time had placed him elsewhere on the long chain of history. If that same hominid, with the same scratch, the same fever, the same infection, could have been lifted out of his world and placed in a modern clinic, a single injection might have saved him. 1 dose, maybe 2, a few pills over a week. He would have returned frightened and confused, but alive. He would have gone back to his family. He might have grown old. His children might have had children of their own. Instead, he was born 3 million years too soon. So the family beneath the acacia tree had no words for what happened, only the quiet knowledge that something invisible had taken him away. They placed leaves beside him. They placed stones. Then they walked on, because survival on the savannah does not allow long grieving, and the sun was already high. Somewhere in your DNA, a fragment of that hominid still lives. Every human being alive now carries the echo of ancestors who somehow did not die from the thorn, the rotted tooth, the infected cut, the blackening wound. Every one of your forebears survived long enough to pass life forward. You are the end of that chain so far. You were born in an age that can look at a scratch and not always fear it. That privilege was paid for in blood across unimaginable time. So the next time the pharmacy feels ordinary, the doctor feels unnecessary, or hand sanitizer feels excessive, remember the hominid beneath the acacia tree. Remember the fever, the helpless family by the fire, and the simple wound that became a death sentence. You survived the scratch because they did not. That is the brutal reality, and it is also the quiet miracle of the age you live in.